What's up, Skitty Squad? It is Nick here, back again with another PTCGL video, and today I am taking a look at one of probably my favorite deck in the format right now. Honestly, it was kind of working its way into my my favorite deck in the last format. But with the release of Paradox Rift and the new Jirachi, it gets a little bit better of a matchup against Lost Box, which is kind of what was really holding it back last format. So, yeah, this is Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR, as you can tell on your screen. This is what you're looking at. The Dodrio is what made it kind of relevant again from last format in 151. With that zooming draw ability, you get to draw extra cards, plus put damage counters on your Pokemon without having to use extra damage pumps and Gengars and relying solely on Gapejaw Bog. So yeah, it added a lot more consistency to the deck. If you don't know, Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR attacks for 2 colorless energies. Its Ticking Curse attack does 50 damage times the amount of Pokemon in play on your side of the field with damage counters on them. So, you get a Gapejaw in play for every Pokemon that you bench. It's getting 2 damage counters on it. That is ramping up Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR's damage output by 50. So, you do the math, you get everything, all 6 Pokemon in play with damage counters on them. It's hitting for 300 damage. Unfortunately, our best way to power this up is through a double turbo energy. So your trade-off is 1 energy attachment for 20 damage. It's really not a bad trade-off at all. We'll take that almost every day of the week. There are a few matchups here and there where you'd like to have that extra damage, but that's where Radiant Alakazam comes in. Painful Spoons, that helps you move some damage in play. Hopefully they don't have a stadium bump. You can keep your Gapejaw Bog in play. They have to bench Pokemon through the Gapejaw Bog, and you can take advantage of that damage with Radiant Alakazam. Squawkabilly is super good for first turn consistency. A lot of times you're opening, honestly, some pretty ugly hands, but, you get an Ultra Ball or a Great Ball, finding a Squawkabilly, and you're just pretty much rolling. So there's that. The Gengar Netherworld Gate ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench and put 3 damage counters on it. So that's a super reliable, easy way to get that damage onto your board. Obviously, with Damage Pump, we're going to be moving it around to whatever we want, whatever needs damage on it. So there's that. Obviously, Manaphy and Jirachi for the Lost Box / Rapid Strike / Ting-Lu matchups, that kind of area, And then we've got 4 Research, 2 Iono, and then Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR's VSTAR ability is actually just another Research. Discard your hand, draw 7. And then Dodrio Zooming Draw, and that's our consistency engine that's keeping us going, drawing cards, finding the pieces that we need. And then we also have 2 copies of Super Rod. As I stated, Squawkabilly is a big part of our consistency turn 1, so sometimes we're discarding, a Dodrio or a Zoroark VSTAR, and we obviously are going to need those cards later in the game, so 2 Super Rod in here for that. I've been toying with this counter catcher. I used to just play 3 boss, but since the counter catcher came out, I thought, maybe using an item over a supporter would be good for the gust effect, but honestly, I haven't played too many games with it, so I'm not 100% sold on that. So if you're going to build this deck and you're like, don't really like the counter catcher, I would suggest putting another boss's orders in there. It's so good just to be able to boss anything you want, and with all of your Pokemon pretty much being able to draw you cards, you can kind of afford to up that boss count. So I've toyed with the idea of playing 4 boss also, but you got to have some consistency in your deck. So there's that. There's the Pal Pad. kind of same idea with the Super Rod, where in the early game you're probably discarding, a boss or something that you might want later, so you want to have access to be able to throw that back in the deck. A couple of Justified Gloves helps you reach that one-hit KO on a Charizard EX. If you can't get to the one-hit KO, it can be kind of a rough matchup. One thing I forgot to mention is actually Dodrio's attack. It is actually a super good attacker. It just takes a couple of turns to get it to where it does valuable damage. For one colorless energy, it has the Ballistic Beak attack. It does 10 damage plus 30 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So, you get it up there to 5 damage counters, you're hitting 150, which is a considerable amount of damage for a one prize attacker for one energy. Especially when we're playing the 4 jet energy, we can just switch it into the active at random pretty much whenever we want to, and just swing for, pretty good damage for a one prizer. So that is something I forgot to mention. But yeah, again, in the Charizard EX matchup, if you're not getting the one-hit KO, your best route is probably go in with Zoroark VSTAR, hit it for as much damage as you can, and then clean it up with the Dodrio, and hope that you can get a one-shot on a Charizard EX later in the game. If you can't get that, you're probably just going to lose the game, but, sometimes you do squeak it out. You manage to boss up their Pidgeot or their Arceus or both. You never know what you're going to get. So, and then obviously we got the 3 Gapejaw in there to up our damage on our own side of the board. 4 double turbo, 4 jet energy. We got to have energy to attack. That's the deck. Let's get into some games. Alright, my opponent is calling the flip. This deck, obviously it wants to go first. However, Zoroark V has a pretty nice turn 2 attack for 0 energy. It's a bait and switch, basically. It does 30 damage, and then you can switch your active with a benched Pokemon. So a lot of times we'll be doing that into a Doduo or just something that we don't give up 2 prizes if it goes down. So we're playing Miraidon. We have a Squawkabilly and a Research in our opening hand, an Ultra Ball and a Great Ball. This is a pretty good turn 1 opening hand. Honestly, even if they pass us, I feel pretty confident that we'll be able to find a stadium to bump it. Because we do want to be able to use Squawk and Seize more than likely. This deck likes to get through itself. It likes to get everything on the bench. So, ideally, we would top deck a Gapejaw Bog so this Squawkabilly can get a couple of damage counters on it whenever we bench it. But I'm not going to rely on that because it's not super likely. So, we'll see what they're going to do here. Going to set up their board a little bit. I expect probably like a Flying Pikachu and a... Well, they really don't know what we're playing. We opened the duo. They're like, what's going on? This is a Tyranitar deck. That's probably what they're thinking. But no, it's the better deck. It's the Zoroark deck. So, yeah, I would expect a Flying Pikachu for sure. And then possibly another Mareep or a Raikou. Okay, or just the Zapdos. Interesting choice, but... Yeah, if you've watched my other videos on my channel, then you know that I kind of have a... Not even a love-hate relationship, I just don't like the Miraidon deck, I don't... And it might not even be necessarily the deck, just the specific build that I was playing. Obviously wasn't my favorite. So, they missed the path, which is good for us. Okay, we find another Doduo. That's cool. We'll bench it. We'll bench the Squawk. See what we get off the Great Ball. Another Doduo, that's great. If they play a Zapdos EX, that could get scary if we don't get a Manaphy down. I'd like to play this Ultra Ball, honestly, but I would get a Zoroark V, and I'd want to attach this Double Turbo. And then I wouldn't be able to... So... I don't like the idea of losing 2 energy just off the rip like this. And I hate that this has to go to the active. Maybe you just attach a double turbo. And we'll research. Alright. We did not find... Man, I don't even know if I'm going to use Squawk. Feels really bad. I can't afford to go down that many double turbo energy, unfortunately. Let's see what this Great Ball gets. Interesting. So I think in this situation, I'm going to take the Gengar. I'll bench the Zoroark V, and then I'll hold the hand. And I will plan to Ultra Ball for a V-Star. That seems like a very bad... That feels like a really bad situation if all they need is a path and I'm just kind of bodied. So hopefully that does not happen. Yeah, I can't afford to lose 3, technically, double turbo energy, I don't think. Especially because I haven't checked if the other one is in the deck. We're just going to send it. I may regret this decision, but we're going to do it. Let's see if the other one's in the deck, actually, before we... 100... Well, I already... Yep, okay, so it's not in the deck, so... This is bad. Alright, we're going to grab the V-Star. And... Oh, man. I'll go ahead and pop this Gengar in case of like a rope play. I don't know why they would rope, but just in case, we'll go ahead and spread the damage out on... Oh, I shouldn't have done that there. I should have done that here, because he's going to put damage on himself next turn, hopefully. Alright, so worst case scenario, they put a path in play and I don't find a stadium bump. Best case scenario, I mean, maybe an Iono, I guess. I mean, best case scenario, they just don't play a supporter and just attack into this. That would be ideal. Okay, there's a fleet-footed. That makes me think that they don't have a draw supporter. Because ideally, you'd like to play your supporter and then fleet-footed and just get an even bigger hand. But you never know. We're low on the ladder at the minute, so anything is possible. Boss's orders, okay. That is not good. That's a free 2 prizes for them. However, if they don't have... As long as they don't have the path, I think I'm feeling alright. Because their hand seems to be not good. Although, I mean, they are getting 2 prizes, so that feels terrible. But obviously, Ultimate Punish with putting the Squawk Billy in play and then drawing all of my double turbo energies and not being able to use them. Yeah, there's only a Squawk Billy in there, so I don't want to play the Rod. Good news is there should be another one of those in the deck. There is. This hand is terrible. Oh boy. So we really need to chain... Oh man, this is bad. We need to chain Dodrio's. A supporter would be cool. Do we have 1 research? We'll pad that in. I need something. In the worst of ways. Research. God bless me. Alright. Come on, deck. Alright, there we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with peanut oil. Alright. We've done it. We have done it. Damage pump would be cool to get maximum damage, but honestly we don't even need it, so I might not play it even if I do find it. Manaphy, that's fine. I think I'll just hold these search cards for hopefully a V-Star next turn. And yeah, 230 is enough. We will take the knockout and see if they can build up a response. There's a damage pump. There's our other double turbo, so that's cool. We've got everything we need. They can put a charm on whatever they want. I can knock it out next turn. Down a V-Star. I had to research. I should have rotted this V-Star back. So we're gonna probably have to take our last two prizes. Well, that's not true though, because yeah, they're probably not gonna get a one shot this turn. I don't want to say anything and then them absolutely body me, but like they're probably gonna have to force Sealstone for a generator here. They only have 2 energy guaranteed. And they need what, 5? So it's kind of a lot. They're contemplating life. They're gonna attach to a Miraidon. Okay, this is interesting to say the least. And I mean, I'm feeling pretty good because even if they judge me, it's basically like giving me a research with these Dodrio. I have 3 Dodrio set up, so I get to see 3 extra cards. So it may not seem like a lot, but 3 extra cards, it adds up very quickly. 3 cards every turn. It's kind of insane. Okay, so they do research. They hold the path, interestingly. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore for me because I used my V-Star ability. So I guess that is only hurting them if they recognize that. A whiff on the generator. We're going to get the victory screen here. It's kind of feeling like a victory screen type game. Switch. Okay. So we're going to be digging for a boss here. Boss off the top. Busted deck. Alright. So now we go double turbo. I mean, I still don't even need anything. I mean, they're probably... Do I just boss this, though? I mean, that feels like... That just feels like the correct play. This is the only thing that can one-shot me. Right? This does 220, 230 at the most. So we'll Great Ball. Nothing's home. That's fine. We'll play the Capturing Aroma. There's the V-Star, if he's in here. Yep, alright. Seems good. We can hold the hand. Boss this up. Take out the only threat. I don't even need to damage pump yet. And we will Ticking Curse and take the knockout. So, I'm feeling very confident that we are going to win this game. I don't think there's anything that they can do. They'd have to get another Raichu out, which obviously they can with Tandem Unit if they play one. This could be JW's list that plays the one Raichu and a Rod, but you never know. They could just have the second Raichu. However, it looks like they're just going to attack with this Miraidon, which is just instant, yep, victory. So, deck's good, man. Deck is good. So yeah, that is my Zoroark creation. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will consider subscribing and coming back for more crazy, wacky, fun content. Yeah, I've got another spicy deck coming up. You may have already seen it elsewhere. The deck's kind of cracked. It's kind of crazy. If you haven't already, check out my last video. It's a super cool one prize deck that attacks turn 1, going second, 200 damage potentially. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you next time, squad.